Welcome back, everybody. I was 4 under par on the front 9 of this Roman Road golf course at Celtic Manor. So playing really well. It's really windy out there, and so I'm just trying to get this one on the 10th, 445 yards. Trying to get it down the middle, but there's a bunker on the left-hand side there, so I really want to fade it away from that bunker. And I've done it pretty good there. It's quite nice because it runs down to the left if you can just get past that bunker. So drive 280, 131, left of the pin. I've got my wedge out here, and I'm just thinking the pin's on the back there, so I'm just trying to see if I can get it back up because there's a bit of a slope on the front. Now with a wedge I feel like I can be that accurate and try and get it up the green a bit, and I've just overdone it slightly there. However, I know that I'm on the kind of top tier, as it were. Putting down here, this is not ideal, but if I can kind of cozy it down fairly close to the hole, I will feel pretty good about moving on, because I'm not shielding the score at this point, but I am starting to think that this could be, if I could just get maybe one more on the back 9, it would be up to a really decent score. Rolled that one down to a few inches, so pretty happy with that. I did have a chance of going in, actually. Putting pretty well today. But we're going to go now on to the 11th, which is a tough par 3. I always find this one tricky. I've played this course about 4 times since I've been a member. I'm starting to play it a bit more now after lockdown, but this hole is tricky. 222 yards. Never really know what to choose up this hole. But I've chosen my 3-iron, which is normally around the 220 to 230 mark. And I'm not going at the flag, I'm going at the centre of the green, because the flag is up on a tier there, and I've kind of bulleted that one under the wind. I was kind of hoping in a way to keep it below the height of the trees, because as soon as it goes above the trees there, it can go any direction because the wind gets really strong up there. So this isn't a birdie chance, but I feel really good because I was kind of aiming for the jaws of the green, and that's about all you can do really, is try and hit it on your line and get up there. Again, my weight is really good, which makes a big difference. If you can hit your approach shots pin high each time, it's a massive bonus. And to be honest with you, if you're pin high, you should, if you're on the green, pretty much you should be fairly close. But this is a tricky putt. It's a big sliding putt from left to right. And this one I've hit and left it up there because I didn't want it to sweep down off to the right. But, you know, it's not too bad. It's left me with a, I don't know, maybe a 5-footer. It is down the slope, but it was pretty straight, so it wasn't particularly a difficult putt. I just had to start it on line. And that was good news. So really happy to get through that hole with a 3. It's a really tricky par 3, like I say. On to the 12th. Okay, so still 4 under. This is 400 yards. This is tricky. Got this brilliantly placed bunkers. There's one up the right. Well, you got the 2 up the right, but the second one is kind of reachable, but not really on today's wind. We've got those 2 on the left, which are easily to go into. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, at the arrow or left, and it should stay away from that one that's really going to catch me on the right. It's 235 yards, I think, to carry. And that is on through the edge of that tree, and I was really lucky to get away with that. However, it's blowing an absolute hoolie. I've not mentioned that yet, but yeah, it's seriously windy today. And I'm quite amazed that I'm keeping this score going, to be honest, because this is not a long shot into here. And so, drive only 224 yards. Across this wind, it was really tricky. This 125 yards, 9-iron, just trying to keep it down. I'm really happy with this shot. This is one of my better shots of the day because it was under the wind. And when you're into a slope like that, when it's on a big upslope, it's very difficult to control it and keep it down. So I always take at least 1 or 2 more clubs, and I'm quite happy to hit it with less spin and hit it softer, which is what I did up there. So about the water on the camera there, on the lens, but was pretty happy with this this shot into here. We got a nice straight left to right. It's kind of left to right, straight up the hill putt, and this was a bonus. I mean, the most difficult part about that was the wind was coming across so hard that I really thought it was going to take the ball. So super happy with a birdie there to take me to 5 under. So now I'm really thinking, come on, let's nurse this round home. We've got some tricky holes left. Not really many other than this one that you can make a big score on, you know, barring the ridiculous if you're playing well. But this one, I just trying to thinking, I'm like thinking stinger driver, just like nudge it down with not much spin on it. And I kind of almost topped that, but I didn't mind. It kind of flew down there straight, pitched on the front of the fairway, and ran down to in a really good position. And so here we are, 180 yards, 5 iron. Now this is the last of the really difficult shots, and this one I want to hold down and just really get it going forward. You can see there I sawed off my follow through, 5 iron under the wind. Super happy. I mean, that shot, I'm so happy with that shot. It was all over the pin from the second it left. Pitched just a few inches away from where the ball stopped there, and left me with a, you know, as easy a putt as you would you can hope for. A little right to left putt there for birdie. I'm just taking my time, because you kind of want to at least put a good putt on these. You don't hold them all. I mean, the tour stats is, I think you miss every one of these if your putting is tour standard. So I do want to get it up to the hole. I know it's right to left, so it makes the hole a little bit bigger. And so knock it up there, and that goes straight in the middle of the hole, which is great. You know, starting to feel I've held some really good putts now, the last 2 holes.
Birdie time.
So now I'm up to 6 under par, which is great. Kind of in this wind, a fairly lethal par 3. It's saying 202, but I think 187 to the actual pin there off this tee. Chose a 6 iron, because I know it's going to go on the wind, and we've got a big sweeping left to right wind. So as long as I can get it spinning a little bit and get the right shape, it should just peel back to the flag, and that's pretty much what we've got there. I imagined that shot and kind of thought about it before I hit it, and it just came off absolutely like I hoped for. So it's nice on a day like this. It doesn't always happen. Obviously this is one of those kind of few and far between rounds that, you know, a better player gets going, and it's great to just keep it going, keep the momentum going, because you can still throw away shots so easily with a few 3 putts, etc. But the speed on the greens, for me, I really kind of got used to them very quickly, and I think the wind just managed to take my mind off every other aspect of the game, because it was just kind of survival. But this was a right to left putt up the slope, and it was all about just getting it up there fairly close, and it looked pretty good. It was always actually a little bit outside the line, but happy with the pace once again, and managed to get my 3, so that's another sort of lethal little hole out the way. Okay, so onto the 15th, 431. I've always struggled with the line off of this tee. Now I don't know why. I usually, although lately I've been hitting a fade off the tee, but for a long time I've been hitting draws off the tee, especially when I'm not warmed up. I kind of always try and flash it a bit with my hands just to try and make sure I hit a good strike on it. But this one, obviously want to be at that arrow, and I think I always aim a little bit too much to the right. Done it again here, and I've just overcooked it. I think I feel that I can carry those bunkers, but I think, as you've seen on the previous vlogs, I think I'm always in that bunker for some reason. I have to try and hit it up the right, but at least in the bunkers today there's no raking, so there's placing, so it's a really good lie. 231 yards from the tee, so I wasn't going to carry that bunker at 260 into the wind. 163 to the pin. I'm starting to think I want to just get this online, get a good strike, and I got a good strike there, just slightly pulled it a bit. But I'm still thinking, as long as I'm around the green somewhere, I can definitely chip and putt, so I always feel confident from around the green. I would have rather have not been in this bunker. But my yardage was good. Again, I was nearly pin high. 163 with that 6 iron. 17 yards, got my 60 degree left. Just splash it out. And that was actually a little bit short, but it was bang on line, so... And I got a fairly good strike on it, so I felt pretty good. Although this putt is no give me. I'm starting to think this is the kind of a possible drop shot up here, but just trying to hang on to, as I've got it in fairly close, I'm trying to hang on to at least 2 putt for bogey. Wouldn't have been in the end of the world. But I can take out of my head, as I'm putting, I'm thinking to myself, the actual speed of these greens, I really know them well, so I don't have to worry about the pace, which is one thing I can forget about. So now I'm just starting to think, if I can just nudge it on line, I know there's a very good chance of it going in because I've got that pace dialed in. And so take it back and give it a good putt, and there we go. Made my 4, which is another kind of a save. I mean, I've had a few good putts on the last few holes, but it's starting to come up together now. -6, par 3, 160, 7-iron. That just seems quite not much club for this, but the wind was howling around. And again, I'm trying to just keep it on line, put it into the centre of the green, because the pin's near the centre. So I'm just hoping my best if I can get one on line. I got the strike there. That's an old divot there. The tracer made it look like I hit out the toe, but that was that divot was already out. I think I just placed it up there. And this was short, so this is a long way short. At this point, like, this camera's actually making it look even longer than it was, but I bet this was 45 feet. And when I hit, the second I hit it, I thought, that's online. I knew my pace had been good all day, so... Obviously, these do not happen every other day. They don't even happen every other week, so to string them all together in one round is really great. Oh, that's some snazzy footwork there. Quite happy the way I scooped that ball up. Okay, so on to 17. This is a short hole, 353, so I'm really thinking I could get another one here. Not very long. I think I've chosen a 4-iron on this one, just to pump it up there and leave myself 100 yards in. That's the plan. So, oh yeah, 190, there we go. We wanted about 190 yards, 190 to 200, but slightly up a slope, so 4-iron was good for me. And I was pretty confident about just nudging this one up there, but still trying to actually concentrate. You've got to make sure if you're going to lay up, you've got to lay up to a good number and a good position, so keep focusing on where you're hitting it. Otherwise you just tend to just swipe at it and end up missing the fairway, and you feel a bit of an idiot then. So yeah, 194, only 4 yards out, great. 110 to the pin, 54, it was slightly down the wind, so 54 selected. I thought it was going to just shoot up into the air and fly forever, because this is normally my 100-yard club. And I'm getting buffered around by the wind there, but that one is actually short. That is a bad shot. I wouldn't say it was a nervy one. God, look how far that divot's gone. But that divot's gone 50 yards. Can I end up walking twice as far when I'm getting divots that far? But you can see there I'm short, which is very disappointing with the wedge. I think it actually did pitch on the front edge of the green and just span back to there because of that wind. Yeah, 89 yards. My normal wedge is about 100, so yeah, 20 yards short. But I felt pretty good about this. I was kind of almost showing off at this point. Hit a 60 up there with a lot of spin on it and rolled it fairly close. I was thinking about holding that one, funnily enough, just because I felt confident it going up the green. And this looks like about 4 feet, but it's not. It's pretty close. I just tapped it in with the back of my sand iron. So yeah, it's kind of a, I don't know, fairly disappointing par, but it's still a chip and putt for the stats. Now this hole, 466, 18, this is not kind of really a birdie hole. Obviously it's obviously on, because there's 2 bunkers on the left hand side. I think it's 255 to carry that last one, which is usually okay for me, but with the wind the way it was today, howling, it tends to knock the ball down. So it's very difficult. Although we were a little bit downwind here, I know that the ball wasn't going to fly unless I kind of did some sort of big aerial kind of hit up on it, which I kind of trying to do, but when I do that I tend to for some reason just fade it a little bit, which I did here. Struck it pretty well. I just knew it was going to be in that bunker. I'm nearly always in that bunker up the right. So here we are from the bunker. Yeah, 270, that's about right really. 161 to the pin, 6-iron. Now this is a soft 6-iron. I thought I'd rather take one off, hit it up the left and fade it back in again. I had a good picture in my mind. Obviously the lie was good because we're raking and placing, or just placing. And so again, just get a good strike on it. I've already had one from this distance early on. And and so I'm feeling pretty good about this one. And all I could think about was trying to get up to the centre of the green once again, forget about the flag and just let it funnel up there. And that was a really solid shot to finish off at least my shots of the day. And this one, across the slope. Again, the trickiest part of this is the fact that it's a big left to right putt. So you can see it breaking across, and that's not too bad for the first section of this putt, but when you get past the hole, it can easily run 10 feet past. Not leaving you a particularly difficult putt, but there you go, straight in the middle of the hole. That was just such a good little bonus at the end, and that is a round where everything has gone right. I don't think, looking back, I particularly made a bad judgment or really many bad swings, because the weather was horrendous. And that is a 62 on the Roman Road course, so really pleased with that. I've played it off the competition tees. It's not something that we do all the time. I just want to put it into perspective. Like when we watch the tour players on TV, we are looking at the best players in the world, and only 5% of the field that are playing at their very best. Now, most people playing at their best look pretty good. I mean, even if you're like a 10 or 15 handicapper, when you're hitting your shots down the middle and getting them on the greens and holding putts, you look great. Well, those guys obviously look fantastic, and they do it more than most people. But if you look at the rest of the field, if we were able to look in at the rest of the field at any time in an event, you'll see some horrendous shots. And that's why you see things like stats saying like 7-8 foot putts are only a 50-50 chance of holding. That is generally because the rest of the field are missing them, but the leaders don't, because that's what we see. So, you know, what I'm basically saying is this was as good a round as I've had in a long time. It's one of my lowest rounds. I've been running 61 before, but not on a that was 7 under par from what I can remember. So this is going to probably be not only the best round this year, probably the best round next couple of years, quite possibly. So certainly the yardage of putts that I've holed, my proximity to the hole was okay. It wasn't great. I've certainly sort of approach shot wise played better than this, but as you can see, the putting and all these different things add up to make these low scores. And the wind really didn't actually make that much of a difference in the end. When you strike the ball well and you plot your way around, you can use the wind as your friend. Obviously there's some holes you can't quite get up on, but as long as you don't make too much damage there, you can get yourself around sort of plotting it. And I'm always trying to use the wind as my friend as opposed to fighting into it. Like if we got a hard right to left wind, I will be usually drawing off of that, so I am able to maintain a little bit of control as opposed to fighting into it, because I can never really tell what it's going to do. It's going to sweep up into the air, get under the wind, and sometimes it gets knocked down by the wind, so it's a little bit more predictable, I find. But it's obviously dependent on what shot you're hitting, whether you're hitting an iron or a driver, or how severe the wind is. But these are all judgment calls. And also, you've got to look, firstly, foremost before anything else is your lie. And so depending on how spinny the lie can look, maybe on a fairway, or maybe the ball's below your feet or above your feet, all these things, it's kind of more experience than anything of not only playing golf but your own swing and how the ball flight and you know how the ball reacts to your particular swing off certain lies. And this is why I find with new golfers it's very difficult to, you can kind of give people tips, but they really have to get out there, hit those shots, and then log in their brain how that shot has reacted to the swing that you put on it. And that's the important one, rather than hitting it and just kind of walking to the next shot wondering whether that was a good one or a bad one. Kind of almost log it in your brain so you can draw upon that in the future. And you can think to yourself, well, I remember that shot, it was a similar lie. It was off you know, the ball was above my feet and it was in the rough and the wind was from right to left. All these things, you know, add up to helping you and navigate yourself around. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm really chuffed that I've got that one down on film for you guys. Not sure I'm gonna score any better than this on the vlogs, but we'll see. So if you enjoyed that, let me know. Drop a comment down below with your lowest score. Now that could be relative to your handicap, so you know, I'm not expecting people saying 61, 62s, but it'd be nice to just let me know what your handicap is and what your lowest score is. So be it gross or net, that'd be really interested. And what course that you did it around would be amazing. So thanks again, and remember to like and subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you next week.